You know, Jamie, we bust a lot of myths on this show, but one area we haven't touched on before that's an absolute treasure trove of misinformation is mental health.
That's right, Adam. Myths around mental illness are not just rampant in society and the media, they're downright dangerous.
Yeah, right. I haven't thought about that.
A lot of people don't, Adam, and that's where things get messy. Stigma around mental health leads many to hide their disorders from their family and friends, or avoid treatment altogether.
That sucks.
It sure does.
Well, let's get into it.
So, Adam, do you know of anyone with a mental illness?
Yeah, I do, actually. My friend John. He's a nice guy, but he's always so down. He doesn't do much.
He sounds like a bit of a burden, hey, Adam?
Yeah, I guess he is, actually. I mean, they can't work. They just need people to look after them. God, they really are a burden.
Well, Adam, that's actually the first myth I was going to talk about. If you think people with a mental illness are a burden on society, you'd be calling Buzz Aldrin, the second man on the moon, a burden. Aldrin was one of 3 men to successfully land and walk on the moon. That's a high achievement if you ask me. Not only was this important politically, but it was a huge step for science. Buzz struggled with depression, yet he went to the freaking moon. Then you've got Stephen Fry. He was diagnosed with bipolar when he was 37, but he's a massive figure in popular culture, with over 100 projects under his belt, ranging from comedy, acting, to writing and presenting. He's provided entertainment for millions, even though he has a mental illness. That didn't stop him.
Oh, wow! They're so much more capable than I thought. You know, one thing I keep on hearing, Jamie, is how dangerous people with a mental illness are. The news is always talking about murderers and criminals with bipolar or schizophrenia. I feel like if I met someone with one of those mental illnesses, I'd freak out.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Adam. That's another of the common myths about people with mental illness, that they're dangerous both to themselves and others.
Well, they are, aren't they? I mean, you can't just have these people running around in society.
Well, actually, the reality of it is that most people who commit crimes don't have a mental illness, and the vast majority of people with a mental illness are no more dangerous than a coconut.
A coconut?
You know coconuts kill more people than sharks do, Adam.
I thought that was just a myth.
Martin Luther King Jr. was seriously depressed for a large portion of his life. Despite this, he was quite the opposite of dangerous. He was an advocate for non-violent, peaceful protests with the intention of creating a civil rights movement. He was also awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. You can't possibly label him as dangerous.
I guess the only danger he posed was to people's ignorant and racist views.
Also, you've got Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, not just once, but twice. He led Great Britain to victory in World War II and was one of the most influential figures of the time. Not only did he battle with the Nazis, but he battled with depression for most of his life, calling it his black dog. Does he seem dangerous to you? No, I didn't think so. After all, it was he who coined the philosophical term, keep calm and carry on.
Wow!
You know what really grinds my gears, Adam?
What's that, Jamie?
When people assume that those with a mental illness are weak.
Yeah, I guess. But come on, Jamie. We all deal with life. Can't they just toughen up and get on with it?
It's not as simple as that, Adam, and it certainly isn't a sign of weakness to suffer from a mental illness. To the contrary, you've got to be pretty tough to deal with it. Princess Diana suffered from both depression and bulimia, yet she was one of the most active humanitarians of her time. She was a patron for many charity organizations. She wanted to reduce the stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS and contributed hugely to fighting this illness. She achieved all of this whilst dealing with her mental illness. What a powerful and driven woman. And how about Ian Thorpe? He's had to fight with depression, yet I wouldn't be calling him weak.
Yeah, have you seen his feet?
He's a world record holder, winning 5 gold medals at the Olympics, which is the most of any Australian. He also holds the title of the youngest world champion. You can only imagine the hard work and perseverance that would have had to go into that.
Wow, Jamie, I've just learned so much about mental illness. My mind is blown.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, hey Adam? Who would have thought that so many prominent figures in history and the media have actually battled with a mental illness? Just goes to show.
Yeah, and all those myths surrounding mental illness, they just don't hold up. Hey, Jamie, would you say this myth is busted?
I sure would, Adam.
Myth busted.